Hey guys, this is our Farsite Fleet community call number three, right? Four?
Yeah.
Okay, three. Okay. Anyways, um, wanted to cover some things before we all start talking. We're all just talking here. I wish I recorded it, but fortunately I didn't. Um, to cover some bases here. Everybody that's been helping with the branding, I appreciate it. Definitely going to be taking some time to be able to go through everything. And this is the last of the 2 weeks that I mentioned prior, but we are going to extend this till the end of next month. But the first 2 weeks, we're going to cut off any submissions for brand names to be able to start voting upon the ones that we select out of the top several, probably like 10 or 3. That's a top 3 I was saying before. But um, we are hitting a pivotal point here in Farsite Fleet to with the branding aspect is incorporating more of the larger brand, essentially incorporating games that are not Farsight. So the naming that people have been focused on is mostly Farsight related names, and that's important too because those names will be utilized for our corp based on Farsight. And with our vast knowledge of the space, and a lot of these members are really technically inclined, I feel like we need to utilize them in a better fashion outside of just Farsight. Unfortunately, Farsight's been taking some time, of course, to build and develop the game out, and that's understandable. And Scorn has mentioned earlier that some people might fall off on the way because there's nothing going on, and so to kind of preserve that um, functionality for our ecosystem, our our corp or brand, we'll be extending the ability to have certain sections of our brand uh, for other games, and that way you can utilize our technical skills outside of just Farsight and be able to actually talk about other things in the space, NFTs, if it's blockchain or whatnot. I think that's important for us to stay captivated, to keep us united. And I feel like because of this time, you know, and personally too, is I've been, there's a lack of motivation because there's nothing going on. I'm personally part of many projects, and I would like to extend my expertise and my knowledge as much as others as well to be able to have other groups that are, if there's specific games, if there's specific blockchains or any of the technology that we can discuss that, and then we can also utilize that for our brand. And this allows our scope to extend further beyond the grasp of just Farsight, and I think this is important for our growth. And of course, Farsight will be our first love, of course, when it comes to building out our brand. So once the development of Farsight does occur, then we can go full circle and focus on Farsight. But allowing us to do other things as well and test the waters for other games, and then report that back to the community will help us, enrich our brand. And so that's to me is it has like more of a longer standing aspect than just Farsight Fleet, um, which is is a great foundation. And we have, like I said, it's like there's such great people that we have that we have um, invited in our groups, and it's amazing to see how knowledgeable they are. And um, so yeah, I want to be able to cater to that and not feel like we are kind of asleep at the wheel per se. And yeah, so that's a big aspect. So yeah, the next 2 weeks we'll do a branding that's bigger than Farsight Fleet. So whatever that is to anyone. Definitely take that in consideration. That's bigger than just Farsite Fleet. But if you want to come up with any Farsite Fleet per se names, of course, that is very acceptable because that those particular names will be utilized for our particular corp. So don't feel discouraged for any names you came up with because there will be basically two winners. And if out of the top three winners will be one for the brand, one for the corp, and then a third one for more of like a second place per se. So everybody will be rewarded. Those are to be announced specific rewards. We haven't sat down and discussed on rewards yet, so I'm pretty sure we can come up with something good. Um, and uh, yeah, so that's a pretty major part of what I needed to talk about. And yeah, so I extend this to Scorin if there's anything you want to talk about.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Better?
that's a little bit better. It's still kind of
Is it
quiet.
better? I can get right close to my mic and then it tries that.
It's a little bit better.
Okay, so yeah, so the group right now is really coming together in terms of the technical people are really all digging right into the Farsight system, and we're extracting information that's going to allow us to build some tools to facilitate logistics, and also any member who wants to see how much it takes to actually manufacture something or to get to a certain resource, how much time you'd be able to do basically anything. You basically ask a question and it'll give you an answer. So that's probably a few weeks in development. Right now, we're just looking at how to get the data out and what to do with it. I posted a little demo in the private um, server, general chat, I think, just a little resource kind of gadget, and it shows just what things can look like. It's pretty ragged, but it's just sort of a demo. The colors are pretty cool because the colors extracted right from the database, and I was able to put background colors that actually equal the colors of the minerals. That was pretty neat. Anyway, a bunch of other guys are really contributing in terms of other coding in term for extracting information. There was a Python program that was posted. It is safe to use. It is going to ask you to log in with your user ID, Farsight user ID, and password. That's an authentication, just so you can get your user ID information. And what happens is it returns a code that represents you, and then the program actually searches the database, which gives you everything, just to search out just the things that you own, for instance. So you can look at your inventory. You can look at how many minerals you've produced so far, what everything's doing, what all sectors, what ships you have, what's equipped on them. It's pretty cool stuff. So these all drop out in terms of a file, an Excel spreadsheet type file right now. So some pretty fun stuff is happening, and we're really having some guys really start to work together.
Nice. Yeah, this is like we can totally utilize everything, and that's the beauty of where we're pivoting to is the brand being able to utilize all that to other games or just in general. Um, and like yeah, we were talking before scoring about even possibly building a blockchain. Like that's it's insane. Um, I mean it's a while from here, and focal on Farsight would be ideal, but those are the technical chops I feel like that's even possible. Like and having that like YGG as as something to ascend to, like even beyond. Like that's like we see the model, and we can also go from there. Um, but yeah, so that's pretty much for me. And yeah, scoring. I'm not. If there's anything else beyond that, I think we can just open up to talking to everybody here. Anybody wants to talk? Tell us how everything's going.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to share. Yeah, so first off, oh, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, loud and
Okay,
clear.
great. Yeah, so first off, I'm just really blown away and amazed by the talent that we have in this group. Like the coding that you guys are looking into and deep diving in, it's pretty amazing. So I really want to shout out and kudos to you guys and the group for coming together. I recognize that it's the holidays and the New Year's coming up, and to Crypto's point, you know, I think I really love the vision of thinking bigger beyond this game, right? And thinking about it like a brand that can impact on a, because this is not just a game. This is Web 3.0. This is the metaverse. This is so many elements that is exciting and interesting and new tech that's being developed, right? So it's like I really think I want to say that elevating it beyond just playing this game and just the minds behind the community of what we're building is super interesting to me. And so I think thinking beyond that is really important and something that I support. And another thing is, yeah, with the patience of this game, meaning that they're developing it. I'm sure they're doing things behind the scene where they're developing and working. And again, it's the holidays. So what else as we prepare, right, and think more long term and be patient, how we can build before, let's say, the missions or the gameplay is actually released. I think could be a strong advantage, if you will, in terms of, again, not just playing the game, but coming together, building communication, building our branding, building our systems, building how we would play the game, and not just Farsite, but also potential other opportunities, like uh, evaluating different opportunities. So, just want to say, it's December 29th right now, 2021. And just very grateful for everyone contributing and in the chats and just sharing your wisdom and your expertise. And yeah, just grateful to be here and wishing everyone a blessed 2022 filled with abundance, of joy, of happiness. Yeah, wanted to share that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Cool. That's cool.
Like to speak?
I just wanted to go ahead.
Oh, I was saying you like to speak. Yes.
Sure. I just wanted to say, I'm really tickled to be here and just delighted to have found this community. This is for me. My focus is gamified learning, really. In all of this, I've always had a game going for 40 years almost, and twiddled a little bit in Eve, but that was at a point in time where I just didn't have the time or the bandwidth to commit to it. And I'm still working, but not working as much. And so this is a good opportunity for me to learn more about all of the sort of the varieties, the blockchains, the technology. I have employed developers and not been one. So when I look at the stuff that's happening in the tech, these are all things like I can and have brute forced my way around watching the developer console while I'm in the game, picking up a few APIs, and throwing those just into web served translators. But I'm really interested in learning more about, like I said, the hard skills too. So, and just also, like I said, just that shared labor has always been for me a great way to spend time with people. So this is a great opportunity for that.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, and hope we can extend our expertise in the space with you and be able to enjoy other GameFi regions of what we're trying to incorporate in our brand, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just been it's been fascinating in so many dimensions already. I mean, one of the places where I'm also particularly interested in this is as we go out further and some economy begins to develop, where we can really deploy some of that technical skill to really watch the markets and be able to pounce on good opportunities for pricing to credit values and resource to output kinds of things as the development really starts cooking. And I also think that to be getting in where we are now, there'll be some opportunities in the alpha and beta space to really, I think, establish some good stakes in the game, such that if it really takes off, and I really feel good about the prospects of this one, if it takes off, being an early settler is going to be a very beneficial position.
Yes, I agree. It's definitely important to be able to get in early in projects as well as the ecosystem in general. I wanted to say hello to Chris R. I know you're from MCP, so I would definitely recognize you, Chris. Want to say hello? Chris, are you there? Okay. Anyways, so yeah, Space Bear, you definitely touch on a lot of good subjects. Yeah, knowledge in the space in general is definitely going to be important. But yeah, Scorn, you're going to say something?
Chris has no mic.
Oh, Chris has no mic. Chris, you should send me your address. I know you want to dox yourself, of course. I'll send you a mic. I got tons of mics, man. I'm actually upgrading. I just got a boom mic for my desk, so my new setup is going to be hopefully better. It's one of the best mics of 2015 or something. I don't know. Like I don't know. It was like maybe a few years back, 18 or something.
Which mic is that?
Actually, let me go check.
Oh, while he's doing that, Space Bear, I just want to comment on your intro. I really appreciate you sharing the intro that you did. And I'm curious, being a guide master and helping distant folks together with like WoW and Animal Crossing, from your experience, what is one of the most important parts of a community being strong together and like co-elevating, helping each other?
Well, I think that the main key to any of those things is its commitment to being together. You can be right next to somebody and not really be connecting with them if you're not committed to doing so. I've carried on some very long distance relationships, which prepared me well for doing this last couple of years of the Zooming and whatnot. And like I said, it really just is about making people feel welcome and ensuring that the space works for a lot of people. And I think just looking at the sort of basic rules of the road that the corp dropped in, again, like I said, I would just looking, I've dabbled in a lot of online communities, and this one just went like, oh, this really feels like this is, for lack of a better word, grown-ups who have some commitment to building something together, which really, like I said, being like-minded, I think, is always going to be an important piece. And, helping people contribute. Like I said, my career is I'm a general manager with a focus on data. And so I've run lots of stuff, and that doesn't mean let me come in here and bogart and run this thing. That's not for a moment what I'm saying. But just making sure that everybody has a chance to contribute, how they can. I mean, you look at my stake right now, I'm, one whopping Demos crate into this. But that set me up with a ship and, enough stuff and enough free credits that I can probably be of use to, some of the bigger players who are going to have a lot of materials that need to be moved from hither to yon. And so that sort of thing. So it's just, being able to contribute and making sure that people can find a way to do that.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I think community and allowing people to be able to contribute to each other and setting that intention and that commitment to grow together. Because again, I'm not just seeing a game; I'm seeing much more. Like how we play games is how we play the world. So it's just thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, this is great. I really appreciate that, Space Bear, because it's like you can be anywhere in the world, and having that connection makes you feel like you're right next to them, and having that, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and it's
Well, and I think all of us have had that experience of being right in the same room with someone and being very alone.
yeah, yeah, I definitely feel that. I definitely know that feeling. It's yeah, that's kind of another thing is like creating this community
Yeah.
was figuring out something we can all take our technical chops and put it into something that we can all grow together. And it's been a it was an easy transition, to be honest. It was putting out just Discord community. Sorry, your echoing is really like super echo. Super echo. Okay, sorry. But yeah, it was an easy transition for me, and because people were just like extending, like, hey, you should create a group, and I was, um, yeah, I was very inclined and not necessarily persuaded, but it was just I was definitely inclined to create a group, and then just the best of the best, it seems like, just showed up, and like out the gate, like scoring has just been like just above and beyond, to be honest. And JFlow with his wisdom, just dropping wisdom on us all the time. I really like, how I love. I love how the way you think. You think abundance. You think about perseverance and self worth and being able to enrich yourselves, empower others. It's like this. This is exactly what I want with the community. Um, let alone the Farsite Fleet or Corp. What there's just so much more to it. We can build from here beyond this game and other games and other metaverses, and it's just a beautiful like community that we built together. It's great.
Yeah, that's what my name is. The name I submitted is Abundant.
Abundance, yeah, that's true.
Abunda.
Abunda.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
because
Well, and I came in with Excelsior, which is of course above and beyond. So that's kind of what I think of with where we're trying to go.
Love, love, love it.
Oh, what is Excelsior? I'm not.
The word Excelsior, Latin basically for above and beyond.
Oh,
To the infinity and beyond Excelsior. It's a declaration. It's a nerdy word that I've always loved.
that's nice. Yeah, I like it. Nice. Oh, well, it's definitely up there. That's for sure. Um. Oh yeah. So the microphone I've got is a Shure SM7B.
Yes, that is the one I use as well, and that was recommended to me. So, great job. It's
Yeah.
been rock solid.
Yeah. That's was. Yeah, I looked up like the best microphones, and there were,
Yeah.
obviously there's ones that are newer, like the one, I forgot who it is, but he like tests all the microphones ever. Um, and then yeah, this was the one that was like fairly priced, decent. It's been great forever. I was like, that's just a no-brainer. And then the box that comes with it too, that they recommended, I don't know what it's called. I'm still like, I'm not an audio junkie as much as the stuff I have. Um, what is this device? Like the audio receiver or whatever, the mixer thing.
Oh yeah. The mixer to plug in.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what I was gonna do. Because I like to make music, but I'm not like definitely can step up my audio aspect. So be nice.
Step by step, step by step.
Yeah, and we just finished my office. We have to paint it, so that's kind of the next step. Is my biggest thing is the lack of focus for me is I can't just go into my office and just jam out with whatever work related projects and all this stuff. So it's gonna be huge for me. I'll be able to make some more videos. But yeah, that's also someone in this space. Hopefully, we can get somebody that can do uh like all the pictures, the graphics and stuff. Like that would be super helpful. Um, I'm not that good at it. Like a lot of copy and paste. So um, definitely better thumbnails and stuff for our videos or whatever. And even if it's for my videos, that'd be great. Um, so yeah, definitely. And someone that could do some video editing, like man, that would take the voice I have and propel it to be able to build up everything. Is the lack of those technical chops. Like, and my next focus for me personally is I do want to try to build some blockchain related stuff. So um, this would help incorporate everything with us. And I'm connected with a bunch of people that are building blockchains already. So they're building marketplaces and decks and stuff like that. So I think with Farsite, we can also, if these coins are fungible, we can put them into a DEX, build our own liquidity, and allow our community or whatnot to be able to benefit from that. So we're gonna be able to exchange our tokens easier if no DEXs have been available. But of course, credits are not fungible to my knowledge yet. Same as FAR tokens, which should be the exchangeable. So that's still up in the air. But I kind of want to create a DEX that kind of incorporates everything. Excuse me. So yeah, that's I want to build some stuff that's for the blockchain. So that's I learn some coding and stuff, Solidity. And, it's all new to me. But yeah, yeah. Does anybody else want to talk about anything?
Yeah, I think there's, you mentioned about editing and a designer. I think there's something about people who already excel at that thing, right? Who brings them energy, who brings them joy, who they're already doing it. They've already put in the 10,000 hour, right? And I think that's what's uh, super interesting about a community, right? Is that people can contribute something that they enjoy doing, that they like I'm looking at some of this coding stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, like you guys are like next level, right? And also like celebrating each other's skill sets and celebrating each other's contributions. I think there's definitely something there, and I'm sure there's someone who just loves doing designs and um, or has that artistic eye who can visualize like the logo in an instant or something like that. So I think it's just creating that space for people to shine, for people to share what they're already great at, and that's what I'm seeing on the technical side. And Scorn, like just like always being above and beyond. So it's really amazing how people are coming together. And again, we're still so early, right? So yeah, let's share that.
Yeah, we're extremely early. Like, I feel sometimes it is kind of late, at least in my knowledge. I mean, only because I've been in the space for so long. So it's like this next phase of blockchain is like it's huge. Like the developer or the developer of Ethereum, he's created a whole nother blockchain that's gonna incorporate Ethereum. And like I was talking about before, I started recording. Um, it's gonna go like full circle essentially with Ethereum, and the technology is like super advanced. And then like the NFT space, I'm a part of a project that has they're building NFT Legos essentially. They're forward compatible, and they're making it available for Solidity at some point for EVM like Ethereum and stuff like that. So eventually we could take our previously created items, say in Farsite or whatever game that we're a part of, we can use those items into other games, um, and and just have them, as a weapon, or if it's like a character or something. So it creates longer lasting value. Um, so it's like to me, like the standards of the technology is starting to be developed. Like NFTs right now are just, I mean, you could say some of our PFPs, like pictures, some have utility, like you're saying, like Gary V, with his passes and stuff like that. Like those are pretty useful, but those are kind of stuck in one space for Ethereum wise. So future proofing it would be having it cross chain capable, putting it on other chains. It could also bring other value to it. Also, it's like was it POAF, which is like a proof of authority or a proof of attendance. So like even that has value. Proof of attendance, creating um, you know knowledge of or a timestamp per se of you attending specific places. Kind of like a flex necessarily, like tickets to a game or something. Um, so those will hold value too. But yeah, forward compatibility to me is important for the NFT space, at least at where we're at, the Game 5. And of course, NFTs in general have huge implications that we haven't even touched yet, with like medical, government, what was the other? Real estate, they have deeds and stuff. I don't know how that's going to be implemented without it being some type of like centralized aspect to it. I mean, of course, it's gonna probably need it in some way, but NFTs with like addition to it. So as you progress as a like a badge, we have like a badge for our members. We can add more elements to it down the road as we gain more value. If in the corp or in the brand or whatever in future development, that we can have a certain addition to our badges, and they're forward compatible. So, and they can be passed, along to anybody. Of course, NFTs are in that aspect. But yeah, I like working with these teams. They're future proofing the space, and blockchain and NFTs and interoperability. So those to me, all three of those are very important. So I've connected myself as an ambassador per se with these people and groups. So it'd be great to be able to share that with everybody without it being um, not to say detrimental for the fleet, but like it's not as vocal for the fleet. But of course, it helps everybody because we can also be a part of other projects. So yeah.
Nice, man. I'm curious to ask you a question about the metaverse. So we kind of talked a little bit about Sandbox, right? So there was a launch where Snoop Dogg came out with a pass, right? And then you could buy the NFT where I think he's going to have a concert inside of there or something like that. You can buy land inside of the Snoop world, right? So I was just kind of observing this, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on like, right, with the metaverse universe, right? So in this example, right, Snoop Dogg does one, right? Maybe P Diddy does another one, and the scarcity element of how do you factor in the scarcity element when in the metaverse, let's say in the sandbox, you can have Justin Bieber, you can have Ariana Grande, you can keep having more and more artists come in. So how do you find that balance? And and how do you find that balance and deal with that scarcity in that element where people can keep producing more land, if you will, and that will lead to inflation?
Well, they can't really produce more land per se. I mean, yes and no, because within each land or estate, um, they can only build so many blocks. Um, addition to the land itself, I don't. I'm not sure on how much are they going to extend it from here, sandbox. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I don't keep up with it too much at this point, but I don't think they're extending it too much further beyond here. But of course, they can easily do it. Scarcity. Um, I mean, just allowing. Yeah, because anybody can literally create anything and have it like, oh, okay, Snoop Dogg's having a concert right now. Justin Bieber's having a concert all of a sudden. Like, um, yeah, that's a tough one because just there's a lot of people. I think they might have to work with each other in some way. If they're yeah, that's it's kind of hard to say. But the land extending outside of Sandbox themselves, creating more land, you can't really do much beyond building their specific metaverses in their land. So that there is a limit to that. Um, but scarcity for say tickets and they can create so many tickets. I'm not sure if there's some agreement that they have to make with Sandbox, but it is decentralized, so essentially they can have like 5 concerts at the same time. And you
Mm.
know, yeah, I don't. That's. I don't think no one's really thinking about that, to be honest. Unless, I'm
That's
not
all
sure.
money off of all the transaction fees, right? I mean, like they still exist. They're just small.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So transactional fees. I'm not
If you buy
sure
the
on.
ticket, if you buy the ticket, you're gonna have to exchange some coin, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But right there, you get a little percentage on the way, 1.5%, whatever the case may be.
yeah. It depends on the decks. That's the thing is like if they have a built-in dex to do so. I'm not sure on. Oh, maybe okay. So when they purchase it, um, yeah, it just depends on where they purchase it. So if they purchased it from Sandbox directly, yeah, I'm pretty sure they have some type of percentage sharing. OpenSea as well if it was the secondary market. So yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, either way, Sandbox will be making money off of it. And also people can create NFTs in Sandbox and put them on the market as well. So it's pretty good longevity for Sandbox. I just, yeah, with having concerts or something all at once, Sandbox will benefit regardless, but there might be too many cooks in the kitchen per se. Um,
So
so
that's one thing, Axie is trying to head towards too when they get their land, and that is that the SDK, the development kit that they use to develop the land, are going to be available to landowners to build applications with it or something that other people can pay to interact with. So every time coin moves, it gets a little ding a ding, right? No matter what.
okay,
So that's where it's all about. It's just keeping coin moving and entertaining people. So like user created content is what a lot of these things are working towards because that's the way to decentralize the creation of content because a small team can only create so much, but a community can create a community's worth, right? So it's a very cool new way of doing of creating a game is let people create it and let others play it.
nice.
Yeah, I think that's a very huge opportunity of user created. What's that term? User created content or experiences. Um, so for Sandbox, I think you could do that where they make it easy, where somebody who doesn't know how to code can build experience on that land, right? And so to take it back to the sectors here in Farsite, uh, you know, it's very curious as to what missions that they will have, or would they have like later on, besides like, okay, here you can mine, you can refine, are there experiences that's on the sectors themselves that could, I don't know, take the experience to another level, where somehow people can curate their own missions that you go play, or simplified ways that people could do it? Curious to hear you guys' thoughts.
Like landing party missions to explore around. That would come into play when we actually find a new planet and explore it, I think.
Space Bear, you were gonna say something?
I was just sort of thinking. I mean, it's always interesting because at the end of the day, markets are always going to be markets, and it's about compelling content. And so, regardless of what kind of experience you're trying to create or sell, the interesting challenge in all of this will be to kind of create the experiences and the things that actually do have more demand than supply, because that's how you make your market work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a lot of demand, especially for this game. Um, so I hope we can at least possibly open some sectors for some of the newer people.
Well, as I say, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the demand is certainly going to ebb and flow in this pre-alpha, alpha, beta. Heaven knows, what the actual flow of the experience is going to be. I mean, I've been watching for 30 days now, and have seen some of the enthusiasm ebb and flow. Seen some of those big event-driven uptakes. When some of the pre-sales happened and things of that nature. And it's just, for making this a good value proposition, it'll be interesting, both Farsight as the actual game framework and then us as a group. Again, how do we really keep that compelling and keep driving people in? I mean, like I said, being oldish here, watching, for me, the game that I connected with earliest and the longest was doing the Warcraft thing, and it was always fascinating watching those rolling waves of expansion and formal expansions, small expansions, and really seeing what drove the economy in those. Because like I said, I really primarily enjoy my mini game, if you will, always was as a trader, crafter, farmer in those games. So again, it's just how do we as the corp, and then how do we integrate with this game and other games, as I say, to create something that people want to pay for, is really at the end of the day, what you have to end up with.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, definitely. We've definitely seen a lot of those ebb and flows with the release of the sectors and also going forward with Farsight as a second game from the creators of there's MCP. That's their first project. I mean, they may have created other things I don't know of, but to my knowledge, they have two projects. And kind of seeing what they've done with the previous project and what they were projecting on developing for the future of that game is going to be implemented into this game. So they have a specific game SDK that's being developed. It seems like that they are implementing in both games. So,
Well, and I think that there's also probably going to be, depending on how this all goes, there may be some of that kind of delay-driven arbitrage that could be pretty useful to those of us who are willing to be patient, where you see the chats and other places full of it, where it's like, oh boy, I'm all in. I just spent a whole load of money. Wait, there's nothing for me to do. I'm bored now. I want to get out. And like I said, so I think that there's probably going to be some opportunity around that part of the cycle too.
yeah, I agree. That was actually the same thing that happened with the previous game. Um, Early on, as people got out and I've been a part of that project for coming up 4 years here. So um, it would be easily adaptable to be able to pay attention to like OpenSea and stuff like that to for us to benefit from that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's OpenSea is the area where I'm really personally interested. As they say, having a gamifiable sort of challenge for me, like I said, to learn more about the APIs and the formatting, to look at really digging in, like I said, to the markets and the market data is that which interests me the most, and that I want to work on pursuing.
Sure. J-Flow, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say you touched a very important point, which is technically we have a model, right, of a game that they've already developed, and I'm curious to hear from your experience, like the time that you've been part of it, like what were some things that you can see them elements that they could easily, because they've already had that experience with MCP, that they would look to transfer over to Farsite or even improve upon,
Um,
like the
well, I mean the community response. So they were really quiet for many years. So they didn't really talk to us for the first 2 years. Um, they were very. I mean, they're still not transparent at all. They're very vague. Um, but they are very accepting of changes. So we've seen this with the sector, the refining, or was it the refining? Yeah. They were, had set prices for each land or each sector, but then they heard the voice from the community, and we all kind of said, "Hey, this is either too much," and so they kind of on the fly changed a couple things, made it cheaper, or a standard price for everything. So they are definitely getting better at the community's voice, be able to kind of change things as we go. Um, that there's so mechanics wise, they because they introduced their token. They didn't introduce a token until I think last year. So for the first 2 years, they kind of just left the community on their own, and they started releasing more stuff. So the token integration kind of pegged the resources in game to a token. So once that creates some type of ebb and flow from the price action, sometimes there's an arbitrage in game markets in comparison to um, exchanging the main token for currency, or if it's Ethereum or whatever currency we're using, Matic, depending on chain. Um, it might be an arbitrage to exchange it back. So I've seen those aspects of the game. Um, the token integration, resources being pegged to the token, um, uh, graphical increase, the graphical changes, integration of different elements from macro to micro economy. So they definitely have seen that. And so they're introducing an even smaller level macro or micro economy with the 3D upgrade, or no, not the 3D, it's the world upgrade. So the world upgrade is essentially what they're pretty much introducing in Farsight, to my knowledge, having that kind of first person view per se, with your ships or whatnot. Like right now, it seems like a third person view, but um, that's kind of what they're introducing in there. So I feel like they might introduce it in Farsight before as kind of like a testing. Um, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure on that. Um, so yeah, having all these materials, like this game has way more going on when it comes to complexities, and that was kind of how that worked. Is they have a built-in economic like trickle down, like like a fund, like a world fund, like it's trickled down to everybody, and they have to have specific buildings to get a daily passive income from it. So um, that I'm not sure if they're going to introduce that to this. It doesn't seem like it yet, but each district, so certain part of areas, say 2,000 lands or 100 lands in a particular district, is governed by a specific governor who governs that specific district. They have their own fund. So there's a district fund and global fund, and they all kind of trickle down to each other. So there's those aspects that may be introduced. So global funding and in planet or sector, or not sector fund, but like whatever there's like galaxy, because we have the sectors and then we have the planets and then we have the galaxy, solar system. So um, I'm not sure if that's going to be introduced, but that'd be interesting because that allows for other players who are not geared to just building. They might be focused on financial aspect only, which is kind of everyone's kind of geared to essentially. But so that might be another aspect they might introduce. And what other things? Yeah, in-game marketplace. So based on what we've seen, was that they're going to introduce marketplaces for each um, star or every star system. It seems like, or even the space stations may be exclusive to the key holders. So I'm not sure how they're going to bring that in. It seems like they might have specific for key holders. They might be specific marketplaces to arbitrage with, so that'd be great. And that's definitely expand the game outside of just each or just a set marketplace. Um, Also, yeah, so like I was mentioning, the built-in token that's pegged to the resources. So how they did it was they deposited, I think it was a million, what was it, 900,000. So there's only 2 million coins, one on Ethereum, 1 million on Ethereum, 1 million on Tron, and they put it into the bank vault. And the bank vault at zero had no resources. So you exchange your resources for the the token, and then in exchange you get the token, the resources are in the vault, and then built in like kind of uh, ratio depending on how much resources are in there in comparison to the token. Um, I'm not sure if they're going to introduce that with like the credit system and FAR tokens, which is definitely more advanced than what they have now, but also is kind of similar because they're going to have a two token system as well. But that other token, the world token, hasn't been introduced yet. They're actually once the world upgrade is going to be the introduction to the world token, which allows for missions and smaller fractions, fractionalizing the mega token. What's their token is. So similar to credits, fractionalizing the FAR token to 1,000 to 1. I'm not sure what they don't have a peg price. I'm sure it's going to be, kind of free flow. It's going to, kind of go up and down. Um, but yeah, the mechanics are not as complex as that they're introducing at Farsight, and they've already had a working product, and it's still working to this day. So, yeah, so all I got.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for the a wealth of knowledge there. It's super interesting to see how they'll do it with this game. My If I had to guess, because they have a working product, they would, take principles that they liked and see how to improve upon it with this one. Because yeah, it just makes sense. Like they have the experience and they can build on the foundation of it. Except this one's in space, so it's just even more opportunities. So thanks for sharing that.
Problem? Any insight from anybody else?
Have a great New Year.
It's like, let's go.
Yeah, man. Very grateful for each and every one of you guys. Very excited for this. Excited for the new years. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
Awesome.
thanks enormously, gang. This is a very rewarding experience, and I hope it remains that way for everybody. And you guys have great New Year's. In Minnesota, we're just going to try to stay warm because it's going to be cold.
Stay warm. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for showing up. Happy New Year's to everyone.
All right. Take care, all.
All right. Flow on.
Take care. Flow on.
Take care.
All right. Peace.